Hi guys, welcome to season 2 of our podcast, Ladies Who Lift.
You can now stream on all platforms including Spotify, Apple Podcasts and even YouTube for our visual listeners. Welcome back to episode 2 of Ladies Who Lift.
Episode 2, we're actually doing it.
Yeah,
not
we are
saying
doing
we're going to
it.
start and then not.
We've committed now.
Because we did start an episode, didn't we? We filmed episode 1, I think, twice before.
Oh my goodness, we've tried. When I say we've tried this podcast,
we have tried.
We have tried, but we were trying to do it without a studio at first and just doing it audio, weren't we?
And basically tech just isn't our thing.
Yeah,
Zoe and Emily
awful.
and tech.
I don't know how we've landed a job in social media when we can't figure it out.
No. Like Canva, I can work out Canva. That's
yeah,
about
but
as far
so
as it
can a
goes.
3-year-old.
Well, I know, exactly. Full stop there. You didn't have to make it too obvious, did you?
What are we talking about today, Zoe?
We are actually going to do a whole episode on friendship, relationships, friendship, because I feel like, here we are.
I've been very excited to talk about this.
Yeah, I think this is going to be like one of my favourite ones.
There's a lot to unpack, and I don't know, I feel like no one really talks about how hard friendships can be sometimes, especially...
Yeah, it's a full-time job, this woman. Sorry, that was really uncalled for, wasn't it?
That's not really a good way to start off a positive, encouraging podcast about friendship, is it?
No, sorry.
So, yeah, so it's just about how to deal with, like, people like Zoe and... but on all serious terms as well, on serious note.
On all serious terms, guys.
On all serious terms, guys, listen, it is hard when you've grown up with someone since like 15, 16. Because when did we meet? We met when we were like 14? Year 10, 14. I was trying to work out this the other day.
Yeah, 14.
And now we're 22. So that's about 8 years, right?
8 years too long.
8 years. Come on now. That's crazy.
8 years. Someone said to us, actually, we were at a shoot this week with Women's Best, and one of the girls that works for Women's Best said, once it's a 10-year friendship, then it's like for the rest of your life.
Yeah, I've heard that too.
You're not getting out of that. So I've got 2 years to get out.
Yeah. No, but seriously, it was like, we've grown quite a bit as people as well.
Yeah, and we've had some bumps in the road. No point lying about it.
Yeah, 100%. But it's very rare these days, and we always do say, like, when we do have a moment, it's not often, but when we do have a moment, we are very grateful for, like, obviously working on our friendship and like still having it and it's still flourishing. And
I think if I'm going to give my word of knowledge of the day, is that obviously if you're looking at a relationship, like an actual like loving relationship, which obviously we are just friends, but if you're looking at a relationship, you would say that you need to work on it, and that like it's not about just giving in every time they annoy you, blah blah blah. So then why do people just like give up on friendships so easily? Because I think you have to work on them as well.
This is something that I think of like literally all the time, because how many chances have you given a guy in the past? Like how many chances have I given guys in the past? Like I just think that we are so forgiving of boys. But when it comes down to something a friend does, and we're all human, we all make mistakes.
You're straight to your other friends,
bitching and moaning, and it's just not like, and you're so quick to cut off a friendship, especially if it's a good one. You're better to like work through it, but obviously we're going in deep diving and stuff.
Yeah, we're straight into it today, aren't we? But no, I agree, and it's even things like what you just said made me think of if like my boyfriend does something to annoy me, I don't straight away go to my friends and say, oh, Ashton's done this, blah, blah, blah. Because you want to kind of like see if you can sort it out and make sure that they don't look too bad to your friends. So then why is it that as soon as one of your friends does something to annoy you, you want to just go straight to your friends? And like as a younger person anyway, like not so much now, but definitely I was a culprit of that when I was younger, at like knowing when to keep my mouth shut and not just like moaning to everyone about everyone.
We're always the first as well, I feel like, to preach how much you need to communicate in a relationship. So why is it that in a friendship it's not so it's not so easily done? And I don't know, I feel like there's so many. I think it's possibly got something to do with the fact that women are a little bit more sensitive, and going from women to women, obviously it's a little bit harder, and relationships and friendships are different in some aspects, but there's so many things that I look for in a friendship, like qualities that go hand in hand with a relationship. And we always say, like, your boyfriend is exactly like my personality, and my boyfriend is very, very similar to your personality.
Which is so weird, isn't it?
It's very strange.
Yeah. Has anyone ever done the Do you remember when we did that personality test?
Oh my goodness,
that was so interesting.
That was really crazy. I think my top love languages are definitely physical touch. When I did it, if I can remember correctly, it's like physical touch, is it? Is it physical touch?
I don't remember. I don't even remember what mine were.
I think it's physical touch, and then it's words of affirmation, and then quality time, and then gift giving as the last one. Whereas yours was quality time, then gift giving, right?
Yeah, acts of service was massive.
Yeah, that's the one, acts of service.
Yeah, but it's interesting because then mine and Harry's were really similar, weren't they?
Yeah.
So that, very.
You just want everyone to be a slave to you.
Just want everyone to act servicely. It's things like making a cup of tea, though. If someone makes me a cup of tea without asking,
yeah,
you're
it's
my
little
favourite
things,
person,
isn't it? It's not just like, oh, get me a flipping baguette from the shop.
Yeah, yeah. So for this episode, we asked some questions.
We did, didn't
to
we?
our loyal followers, didn't we?
We have a lot going
got
on
some market
in the
research
responses.
today.
We have a lot, and everyone's responses are pretty. There's one thing in these responses that is just like the same throughout.
Okay.
Guess what? One quality everyone looks for in a friendship.
I genuinely haven't really looked at these, by the way. Loyalty?
Yeah, and trust.
Is it?
Loyalty and trust. And that would be, I was thinking when I obviously put this on Instagram, I was thinking, what would my 3 be? And
I wrote mine down.
I've actually got mine written down because I
I
thought a lot on it.
I don't know what.
I thought a lot on it. And mine would be, I've not actually saved it anywhere. That's really, really clever of me. But I know from the top of my head it would be loyalty, communication, and personality.
Yeah, definitely. Mine, I don't think I actually thought that deeply when I wrote these down, but I said, always happy to see you win.
Yeah.
Understanding when you're busy, but also finding balance with spending time. And not judgmental.
Yeah, that's a big one.
But I think I was thinking more friendship than relationship there. Because like trust and loyalty, well, in a friendship too, is so important, isn't it?
Definitely.
So
and empathy is a very big one.
Empathy, yeah.
Empathy is a big one on my list because I don't actually think I said it there, but empathy is very big because for me, I'm quite a sensitive person. So I really need someone to be able to be like, hang on, she's not feeling great, and like put them in my
If you guys listen to the last episode, you'll know about her.
My sensitivity. Yeah.
No, it's a great thing though, I think. When I was younger, I literally talking like before I met you, I had like a girly fallout when I was in like year 7 or something like that. I don't even know what year I was in, but the girl told me that I was too sensitive and that the reason why she doesn't like me is because I was too sensitive. And that really got to me. I was so upset by that because I was like, oh, like I hate the fact that everything upsets me, that I worry about everything that is said. I always think it's like a problem with me, blah, blah, blah. But actually growing up, why does being sensitive have to be a bad thing?
I actually had the same thing, and I actually think now when I'm older, looking back on it, I'm glad that I'm a sensitive person because yes, you feel things more deeply, but you feel like the positive emotions more deeply. And one thing for me is I'm very grateful. Like I can manage to be really, really grateful and deep how grateful I am on a number of different things. And I feel like when you are going through a rough patch, being grateful is great because you, even if it's the smallest thing, like, oh, I've got a roof over my head, it instantly makes you feel better. And if you are a sensitive person, then it's easier for you to be able to do that, and you have deeper connections with people.
Yeah, it's you can choose as well. Like there's a trend going on Instagram. Have you seen it? Where I'm going to say this wrong now.
I'm so sensitive, but then it shows like the negatives.
Yeah, it's like I'm so sensitive, someone crying, and then it's like I'm so sensitive, someone like feeling really happy and like feeling the emotion. And it's the way you look at it, I think, because you could look at it in a negative way and say like, oh, I go home and cry because someone said a comment they didn't mean, or you could think like that and get really excited about things and feel really genuinely grateful and happy.
Yeah, there's been moments as well, like recently, because obviously as you grow up you change and stuff, and sometimes I've been a little bit numb to things, and that scares me, you know, because
in what sense?
Just, I don't know, like if someone, I don't know, like I don't feel emotions as deeply as I used to in certain instances.
Okay,
and I actually do worry about that, because there was one time where I was like, I wish I could just be cold-hearted and not really care about what anyone thinks and all of that. But I don't know, recently I've been like, I really enjoyed feeling deeply about that kind of thing, and being able to like feel certain emotions that not necessarily everyone can feel as easily as sensitive people.
Yeah, no, I like that.
How did we get on that tangent?
I don't know. That was a major tangent.
That was a major tangent. But you will learn that about us. We go on major tangents.
I like the tangents though.
We go around the world and back again. And we have no idea what we started.
Emily was in America in the last episode. We're back in the UK. She's not come back with an American accent.
I have sworn an oath that I'm never going to say anything American again on this podcast.
Okay, what, for embarrassment purposes or?
I just don't want to embarrass the Americans that listen because that accent was awful.
But do we have any other answers?
Yeah, I need to read these out.
That's
actually.
where we were.
That's where we were. So we asked what was your top 3 qualities you look for in a friendship/relationship, and I'll read out a couple. Honesty, not having to think of a conversation, and empathy. That's very similar to mine actually, because obviously you have the honesty part, but I'm guessing not having to think of a conversation, it's more just like personality and like bouncing off each other.
Yeah, I guess so. Like, I think when you're really comfortable with someone, you don't feel like you need to start a conversation. Because either you're having conversation or, and this is a massive thing, I think, being comfortable enough in a friendship that you can go and spend time with them without having anything to say.
Yeah, absolutely. And I also hate, having to quiz someone about their day. Like,
Small talk.
Being able to sit there and just being able to be like, oh, how was your day? And then you roll off the tongue for about 45 minutes.
Yeah.
And it's back and forth as well. It's not just like, definitely. I did this. And have you ever had a conversation with someone that's just so like self-absorbed that it's like, it's nothing to do with you and everything to do with me?
Yeah, you're just listening to them. Yeah, definitely.
I think that's a big one.
Like me and you, I think we spend so much time together that sometimes we really don't have anything to say to each other at all. But that's totally fine.
Just being comfortable.
Like we were in a hotel a few days ago because we were at a shoot in London and we wanted to get a Nando's for dinner and I was feeling really poorly. We were supposed to go out, weren't we? But it's just I'm really grateful to have that friendship where you can be like, actually, no, I can't go out. I don't feel it. But I ended up getting in the bath. And when you leave the room and the room key like comes out of the slot and then all the lights and electricity go off. So I was just sat in my bath, like long day, just eyes closed. And Emily left the room and took the thing out and all the lights went off and was gone to go out and get the Nando's. By the time she came back, I was still just lying there in the dark, like doing nothing. I just didn't have anything to say to her or anyone else. And that's fine. Like, Emily's not going to be like, oh, like, why is she being off with me? Why does she not want to talk to me? But you just know when you learn,
like, especially because we've been friends so long now, we kind of like we've learned each other's traits. We've learned each other's like off points. What would you say?
I feel like I can read you like the back of my hand.
Yeah,
like,
you can read me
I
like the back of
know
your hand.
where the day's going to go based on the first 10 seconds of being with you.
Yeah, me too. And I know that I can read Zoe before she even knows how she feels.
Yeah.
Like if she's, there's been times before in the past where you've felt a little bit down and you've not even realised, and I'm like, are you okay today? And then you're like, you know what, actually, no, I'm not.
And she has this way of calling me, right, you don't really call me much. Like, we're not really, I think because we see each other most days anyway, it's not like we need to like do cool catch-ups or anything. And if we don't see each other, then we always do the cool catch-up, don't we? But just sometimes you have this way of like, I'll be having a really bad day and I'm getting better, but I wasn't that good at speaking about it before, was I? And I'll be having a really bad day and then I wasn't going to tell you, or I was just going to get on with it and try and get through it, and then you'll call me and I'll be like, oh, it's funny you should ask. Actually, I'm having a really bad day. And then it all just comes out.
You have gotten better at that, though. But that's something that I've learned, like, as well, that if you're quiet, it's nothing to do with me.
Yeah, no.
That's being a sensitive person as well. If anyone's ever quiet, I look into the fact that it isn't something to do with me. Am I doing something wrong? But no, you definitely do. And that's why I think it's so important to stick to a friendship, because you need to learn each other.
That takes time. Like, we did not know that at first.
No, I'm still learning about myself, let alone you. Yeah. We've been friends for 8 years.
Yeah, 100%.
Like there's ways that you're like you, and also we're not the same person we were 8 years ago. Like we've had to like grow, and our friendship grow through that as well.
Yeah. Definitely.
It's so important.
And our like our relationships are different. Our friendships that we've got with people are different, because we came like from school. We kind of like moved out of a big friendship group, didn't we? And we obviously, I remember when you got your first boyfriend and I had to learn about like how honest I can be with what's annoying me about that. And same with you.
You just got jealous.
I did a little bit, like not in a weird way, but Emily kept leaving me on my lunch times.
Learning how to share your friends with their significant others.
Yeah.
Obviously, that wasn't really such a huge thing in school, but ever since we've come away from school, we've like drifted from people because they've got other things going on in life. Like some people have gone to uni, some people have got boyfriends and they don't have like as much time anymore.
Yeah, definitely. And I think getting the balance and knowing how honest to be, because I think I remember when we were like younger, and you got a boyfriend, and I was like supposed to meet you somewhere, and you didn't meet me there because you ended up with that boy, and I was like, rather than, I could have just, next time I saw you, been like, oh, like, next time, can you just make sure you're there? Instead, I was probably like, you've really annoyed me. Do you have no respect for our friendship? Blah, 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 blah. Got just, yeah.
I remember that like the back of my hand. We weren't even friends for that long, and I don't do conflict. So, when that happened, I was like, whoa.
All right,
what is going on here? I think I knew.
But you never did it again, though.
No,
you never did it again. And that doesn't mean it was right.
Listen, you learn, don't you?
Yeah.
You learn. And you would have learned from that situation as well to how to handle conflict. And I learned that I need to prioritise my friendships as much as a boyfriend. And I have from that.
Absolutely, you have. I can vouch for that.
I would still have carried on being pretty crap with it if you hadn't pulled me up on it.
Yeah.
And that's why it's important to communicate with your friends.
Yeah, I think that's such a big thing, communication.
Yeah. Let me go through some of these, because I think some people said communication.
These are really good.
One person said trust. I get that. I feel that, because you don't want to feel like your friends backstabbing you, especially with a relationship as well. You don't want to. You want to just be comfortable with someone and not have to worry about when you're not there. I think that's the biggest thing. That's
100%. And although I don't think there should be like gossiping or bitching in your friendship, also it's nice to know that if you needed to confide in your friend, they're not just going to go over to the next Karen over the road and say, oh, you know what Zoe said yesterday. Like, you have to be able to have that trust.
I think it's pretty rare as well in this day and age to find trust and respect, because obviously there's so much, I don't know, I think it might have always been the case, but obviously I couldn't do the big friendship groups in school because I couldn't stand how it was so bitchy and
so two-faced.
It's like you can never fit, you're always like in a fight or flight mode. That's how I felt.
Everything you say, you're on edge a little bit, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually remember really struggling at one point in the last bit of A-levels. I think this would be year 10, would it be?
A-levels?
A-levels,
12, 13.
Yeah, so it was year 12. And I think it was like for a couple of months, I just wanted to sit there and just not talk.
Yeah.
And just take it all in.
And we ended up, me, you, and then a couple of our other friends ended up just like,
we branched off and it's been pretty peaceful, to be fair, since. Like, there's nothing wrong with big friendship groups, but sometimes like different personalities just don't work with other personalities. And since leaving school, all it's been really for us has just been work, and like we've got like quite a small knit group of friends now, and even then we don't see them as much as we probably should, because life gets in the way and business gets in the way.
And that's where we've had to find a balance as well, because obviously we, being in a friendship group and us two doing work together, obviously we're going to have to do things together that are our friendship things but are also work things. So then it's getting over that like barrier with the people that are your other friends, of making sure they know and making sure you know that you're not like just being really like uninclusive.
Yeah.
You have to sometimes just be a little like go and get on with your stuff.
In a way, we've kind of been forced to be friends. Like
in a way, we don't have a choice now.
We have put the reason we've put so much effort and stuff into our friendship is the fact that we have a business relationship.
Yeah, and that's a blessing. Like we wouldn't probably have the friendship that we have if we didn't do this together, which is a blessing, but also it's like makes it hard sometimes.
Yeah, and it's forced us to realise as well how much you do have to put effort into your friendships, because if we didn't have this, I don't think that we'd be as close as we were. And I can say that for sure, because you would either be doing a different job, I'd be doing a different job, and we wouldn't be forced to spend as much time with each other as we should be.
Knowing me, I probably wouldn't be in Leicester.
No,
you're probably the only reason why I'm here.
No, exactly, I forced you to stay in Leicester.
Literally, I'm stuck now.
But it's crazy, and like reflecting back on it, even just talking about it really makes you realise how much effort you do need to, because you put it like we say earlier, you put it into a boy, and if you're obviously you want that to flourish, but you can't just have a boyfriend and just live with your boyfriend. You need to have for that to be healthy. You need to have your friends you have that you're dependent on as well. And I know I say it all the time, but the girl relationship compared to a relationship with a boy is so much different. It's so different, and it's so much more rewarding in some ways, because obviously you're not going to have the connection with a boy as you are girl to girl.
And there's the pressure off it as well, because I think with friendships it's not exclusive. So like with a boyfriend, like you have your one boyfriend, well I do personally anyway. Like I've got a couple. You have your own boyfriend, it's just you and them, and it has to just be you and them, and so everything has to be like completely happy with you and them. But with a friendship, you have other friends, so you have to learn to like work on that friendship, but it's not as, I don't know, I guess some of that pressure's taken off, isn't it, in some ways, because it doesn't have to just, like, I've got my other friends as well. I don't have to put all my energy into this friendship 100% of the time, which is probably a blessing.
This is why I don't understand how people can have like a group of 20 though, because
I don't have that much energy to split.
I would be absolutely knackered.
I'm socially trained enough after having an evening with you, Emily.
That's 3 friends a week. 3, 6, 9, 12. That's 3.5 friends a day for a week.
What, 20?
Yeah.
20.
That makes me knackered even thinking about it.
Yeah, that's a lot, isn't it?
That is a lot of people.
But then this comes on to my point, though, about being busy, because one of the points I said was about having a friendship where you understand that you're busy, but you also find a balance of making effort and seeing each other. I think friendships that are developed and comfortable enough, it's all right to not always, you know, like when you're in school, you Snapchat every day, and if you blank their Snapchat, it's all, you know, World War III. But I feel like now it's kind of, you get to the point where you know that you've not seen them in a month, but then when you catch up, you have all these things to say, you have a really nice time together, and there's no hard feelings about that. There's no like, oh, how have you gone 2 weeks without sending me a message? Obviously, I think there has to be effort, but you know that you can pick up the phone and call them if you need them, but it doesn't have to be like a daily thing.
I think that goes on to the fact that like when you do transition from obviously seeing each other from school all the time and then transitioning to adulthood, is like you have to accept that, especially if you are someone that, like, I've had friends in the past that really are like a little bit, what's the word, I don't want to put it in the wrong way, but like a little bit protective, and they want you all to themselves kind of thing. That's something that for those people is going to be quite hard to understand.
Yeah.
And not like get in their own head about they don't want to spend time with you. It's not that. It's just the fact that other things get in the way, and you just have to like compromise.
Yeah.
And be secure in yourself enough to know that they do want to spend time with you, but there's other things in life that is going on.
Definitely.
But I do think relationships are so, like friendships especially, are so important to lead a happy life.
But who are you going to enjoy things with?
Absolutely.
I do have a lot of respect for people who feel as though they can like go on holiday on their own and stuff and enjoy their own company, because I don't think that's ever going to be able to be me, because I wouldn't say I'm a complete introvert, because I would like to go and enjoy that thing with someone, but I think it's nice to be able to spend time on your own, but actually sharing memories with people is so important to life, and like being happy and having fun. I wouldn't want to do it on my own.
We've always said, haven't we, that what we do now, like, we're so grateful for what we do, and we've had like so many memories, that like happy memories that we've been able to share together, and it's such a nice talking point and like reflecting on it, and it's great when you accomplish things by yourself, but obviously sometimes it can become a little bit lonely, and we've managed to, especially like things like we did this week when we went on that shoot. I still get so worried before a shoot, and if I was on my own, I would just absolutely be pooing myself.
Yeah, you start over criticising yourself, and you start like getting all in your head. But then as soon as we go down together, it's like, well, if I've got to do it, Emily's got to do it too.
Yeah, and we're both in the same position. We can bounce off that, and it's a bit of familiarity. So I am very grateful for that. But like I say, like we've had to work on it, haven't we?
Yeah, definitely. And I think there's been times where you learn not to air everything out like separately, because I think that's another part of our friendship, learning how to talk about things that are hard to talk about, because we run a business together, so we have to talk about money, we have to talk about pulling, like how do you tell your friend that you want them to do a little bit more work? Like, what? That is not something that you ever think you're going to have to do in a friendship. And I think that's definitely learning to get to know each other. That thing about being friends for a long period of time is massive, because then I know how to approach a conversation like that, and then it doesn't have to be like, let's both sit down and talk about our differences. Like, it just happens.
It sets you up, doesn't it, having like a strong bond? It sets you up, and you have to be uncomfortable. Like, obviously the first couple of conversations we had that were hard were uncomfortable, now I feel like we can talk about a lot of things that should probably cause arguments that don't.
And I think you have to mess up in some ways.
You have to learn.
I definitely messed up. Like, there's been times where both of us have done things to each other or said things that aren't, very nice to other people or each other. And I think learning how to go through that and then think, well, I'm never going to do that again. Like, I've made a mistake. I've been caught out for it. I shouldn't have said that, and I'm never going to do it again.
Yeah.
And then actually, like, sticking to your word with that. And then next time, okay, well, I'm not going to go and, talk to my boyfriend about that. I'm going to go and actually just talk straight about it.
But also, like, it's really hard as well, because we were both we've both, I think, well, when we first met, we were like 14. So we've both had to, like, kind of grow up and go through those mistakes together, because we're not as mature now as we were then. Yeah. Like, we were just kids at the end of the day.
No, we're more mature now than we were then.
Yeah, we're way more mature than we were now. We're more mature now than we were last year.
Yeah, definitely.
We're still not very mature, but we are more.
We're more mature.
We're more
not
mature.
saying we are mature.
Yeah, this is
more
what I mean.
mature than we were. But definitely, and as relationships change as well, like, I think actually there's a dynamic, if we're really being scientific about it, I think there's a dynamic between how your friendships and your relationship work. And sometimes that doesn't really go. Like, I think when I was with someone previously, like, I struggled with the way that he would, like, discourage friendships, or rather than maybe saying, like, you confide in your boyfriend, it's natural to confide in your boyfriend about everything, but you maybe need to be with someone in a relationship where they can actually build it up and say, oh, actually, maybe Emily was right there, or like, oh, actually, I don't know if Emily was that, like, literally I was having a conversation with my boyfriend not that long ago, and I think I was moaning about my younger sister, to be honest, and he was like, Zoe, like, what is wrong with you? Like, that's not, grow up, kind of thing. Like, that is not a problem, rather than just building me up and being like, I'm just going to agree with you. I'm just going to agree with you. Yeah. Actually, sometimes you need to be a team in that sense, so that when I know your boyfriend will say, like,
he will, yeah,
Emily, you're being ridiculous.
I'm very grateful for that, and it is like it's good to have a boy relationship that's going to be like, that sees it from a different perspective, that's not necessarily...
And then it helps your girl
Absolutely.
Friendships. Yeah.
Because they can see it from a different perspective, because...
A very blunt perspective.
Yeah, very blunt and probably emotionless.
No overthinking, no sensitivity.
This is what I mean. And that's why it's so good to have kind of like, they're completely different dynamics, but it is important that if you do have a significant other, that they're flourishing your friendships as well, because... Yeah. Obviously, they have a big say in your life. They influence you a lot. You are what you surround yourself with. So if they are...
You care about what they think of you.
Absolutely. And if they're, like, tearing your friends down, or, like, not supporting your life in general, then obviously you're going to withdraw from your friendships, and you're going to withdraw from... And it could come from... Not saying it always does, but it could come from a selfish point of being like, I just want my girlfriend to myself, so I'm going to get rid of all the surroundings. And there are some people like that. It's crazy. We know that there are.
We know there are. Anyway, but yeah. 100%.
But that leads me on to another point. Sorry, I'm really rambling now. That leads me on to another point of, like, if you are listening to this and you do have a boyfriend and you feel like you're distancing yourself from your friends, stop right there.
Yeah.
Stop right there. You don't want to... Why do I keep saying something?
Stop right there.
Stop right there. Just, like, do a little rain check on yourself, because... I would hate to, when I did do what I did when I was with a boy, like, very early ages, probably like 14, 15, that was my first relationship, and it wasn't even like, it was just like a little, you know how it is.
Yeah, you think it's serious back then, but it's not.
But I'm very glad that you pulled me up on that, because I don't want to be that kind of girl that just relies on her boyfriend and distances her friends, and then just picks the friends when she doesn't have anything better to do.
Yeah.
Because that's not going to make your friends feel very good at all. No. Like, you don't want to be on the receiving end of that at all. Yeah. And also, those friends that are getting treated that way, if they clock on that you don't really care that much, and you're just kind of like picking them up when you want to, when your boyfriend's not around, they're not going to want to invest the time into you anymore. They're going to feel like it's very one-sided, and no one has time for that anyway. Like, you should flourish with
your friends. Yeah. I think
it's equally important for your relationship to work. I'm going back on myself, but it is, I just need to reiterate it. If you want your relationship to work, you also have to put a lot of emphasis on your friendships as well.
Yeah,
like, don't forget
hand in hand.
Yeah, don't forget how important your female friendships are.
Yeah, and also, more than anything as well, your boyfriend might have all his mates. He's going to the pub on a Friday night.
What he's
going out with his friends on a Friday night. You're just going to get frustrated that he's out.
Yeah, absolutely. You need to have a life. You need to have a life. There is a life beyond boys.
Yeah.
as much as they look like we love our boyfriends, but you know, there is nothing better than having a female friend that you love.
Oh. Me and Emily
we never say it
massively. No, we have these moments, don't we, where we start talking about how great our friendship is, but it happens once every 6 months.
6 months, yeah.
Maybe.
Zoe is a very sarcastic person, so I always get, flipping. You heard it here at the beginning of the podcast that I'm with this flipping girl again. But she actually does really love me, but she only tells me 6 months once every 6 months. So like.
So she holds on to that, and then that gets you through 6 months, doesn't it?
Yeah,
Until it happens again. Yeah.
Absolutely. Is there anything else you want to talk about friendships? I feel like there's so much to unpack. We've not even spoken about how we met. No. I don't think we've ever spoken about that, you know. Because everyone... Okay, so on Instagram, everyone always assumes we're lesbians.
Lesbians or twins or sisters.
Yeah, so we need to clear that up. We are not lesbians.
We're not lesbians, we're not sisters, we're not twins, we're not related.
But I think that's quite like a nice compliment when people say that we're like lesbians, because it just shows how close we are.
Emily,
I've never thought of it that
Emily's
way.
the one that always looks at things in a positive light. But no, yeah, that's true. Like, at least we've got, you know, great friendship.
I think it's natural for people to, like... Because if I was people watching that I love to do, and if I see, like, two close friends, I'm always like, bet they're lesbians. But it's not, because you don't see it, like, that often now, do you? That two people are really, really close. But.
Yeah, no, and we do spend a lot of time together. We do. But we met, so we said that we met in school.
Yeah.
We were both 14.
Yeah.
And obviously the whole gym thing, like, where did that come from? That was when we were we both had quite sporty backgrounds. Like, I did dance and gymnastics. I can't dance to save my life, just saying, but I did do dance.
I did gymnastics. I did a lot of athletics in school, but I never, like, joined a athletics club.
Yeah, so we both were, like, active. We liked being active. Our families are quite, like walks and very, like getting out. Yeah, I was a camping family when I was growing up, much to my dismay. I won't put my kids through that. Maybe I will, actually.
You can't say that
like
just
it
yet.
these days, haven't I?
You can't say that
yeah,
just
we
yet.
both were quite active, and then we got to like 16, and I don't know, unless you really are into something, I feel like it kind of stops for a lot of people, because you're naturally active, even when you're doing sports days and stuff, or you're doing PE in school, and then it all stops at A levels. Like you're unless you actively go and make yourself do something, you're not doing sports anymore naturally, because you're not a kid anymore, so you're not running around all the time. And I think we both got to that point and just felt a little bit... I tried to make myself go out and run originally, actually, before I started the gym.
I remember that.
Yeah, I mean, it was probably
You've
like 1
always
kilometre.
been magnetified.
Yeah, it's just come back around in a big circle. But I would do like 1 kilometre and then be like so out of breath, falling on the floor, fainting in the shower. But I tried. I didn't enjoy it, but I tried. And then you started going to the gym probably slightly before me, I'd say.
Yeah, I think I went to the gym about 6 months before you did.
Yeah, and then I joined the gym nearer to me, because we don't... When you can't drive, you can't just like easily go to the same one. And then eventually, I used to actually... Don't tell anyone, but I used to get your mum's gym card so that I can go and train. I used to pretend to be your mum, didn't I? So I could go and train with you.
Yeah, because I had a gym that was like, obviously we didn't drive back then, so we would walk, and it was about 10 to 15 minute walk.
Yeah, from school.
Yeah. And that's another thing, actually. When you finish school, obviously you become less active, because then you get a car and then you drive everywhere. Like, you really don't realise
and then you get a job and you just sat down all day.
I was thinking this the other day, like, it must be quite hard for people that do have a, like an office job, because you're barely standing, you're barely walking.
Yeah, since
you're driving to work, most likely.
Yeah.
You're probably knackered after work, so you don't want to go gym. So it's barely like any activity.
Yeah, it's hard. It's really hard, especially even with us doing our like sorting out our coaching app stuff.
Yeah,
that's like sat down all day doing that.
Yeah,
you realise you've got like 10 steps in and it's 4 p.m.
I think that people that do office jobs, I feel like their bosses need to make a rule that says every like hour you do a 10-minute walk. I think that should be something that
if we ever have a company with employees,
if I ever become prime minister, that is something that I will want.
I actually had a dream that I became prime minister, didn't I?
We've got a bit of a god complex.
Yeah, we keep talking about if we became prime minister.
We were, when the general election, when the general election was happening, we wrote down like a list of like what we wanted to do as Prime Minister. Like it was going to happen. And you always think
we were running.
Yeah, I'm literally going to. But that is one thing that I would introduce.
Yeah. Tangent. Met in the gym. No, we didn't meet in the gym. We met in school, started going to the gym together. And then once it was happening together, we just found that we really enjoyed doing it together, didn't we? Because we'd learn from each other, the little that we knew.
Actually, before I started going to the gym with you, I did a couple of I kind of tagged along with my mum actually, because she did a couple of PT sessions and then like just regurgitated the information to me. And I found that really, really handy. I'm so grateful that she did that.
So that got you going.
Yeah, and I also feel like, you know, when you understand a little bit more what you're doing, you feel a lot more confident and you are a little bit more motivated because you know that what kind of muscles it's working. You're not second guessing yourself.
And then it becomes more interesting as well.
Yeah, and then I think I taught you a little bit when you came, and I don't know, two people come together. It's not when they go into the gym, they both become way more confident because you can rely on each other. And if Zoe does something stupid, then it can be like a little laugh against us both rather than, oh my God, did anyone see that? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. I think walking in the gym on your own compared to walking in with a friend is like all of a sudden you've got the shield around you of like you don't care as much about what people think, because if you're doing it wrong, you're doing it wrong with someone. And I think there's so much in that. Like making a mistake with someone else is so much better than making a mistake on your own.
And we made many mistakes when you look back at it.
I don't know if we can insert
I'm
a video
so grateful that we have recordings and evidence, because no one would believe us now.
Some of the things there's a video of us doing a hit for us with like a jumper underneath a little pre-made barbell, and the way we're shoving that up to the ceiling is incredible.
Form not a thing, back not straight, core not engaged at all. Our future selves would be looking down on us like, what are they doing?
Yeah,
but you've got to make mistakes. I say all the time, you've got to make mistakes in the gym. You absolutely have to. Everyone's been there, everyone's done that. You've got to make mistakes, because otherwise you're never going to get more comfortable, you're never going to learn.
No.
And everyone that's in the gym has made those mistakes prior to where they are now.
Yeah, definitely.
You just kind of have to bite the bullet and just go for it. But yeah, we did the gym for... We've just shared that passion, didn't we? For the gym.
we must have been training together for like a year, if that, because then we started that Instagram account as a bit of fun.
We started the Instagram account
because at school, we were going back to school, and then people were like, oh, what are you guys doing when you go to the gym? Because I think this is what I mean. It's something that a lot of people maybe want to go and do, because everyone, when you get to that point, unless you're already into a sport, has got to a point where they're just not moving as much anymore. So I think everyone kind of wanted to do a similar thing, and because we were doing it together, it was easier for us to go for it.
And it wasn't compulsory, was it, in year 12 and 13?
No,
so everyone
no
just
PE
stopped.
lessons or anything like that. So yeah, we just kind of like made this private account where
and
we
I
put
didn't
some
want
silly
to at first, did I?
No, I really had to convince Emily, and I was like, we're doing it together. It's that thing. If we're making a mistake, we're doing it together. So it's not as embarrassing. And then made it private, and then like a few people from school followed it. It was just this little thing. And then even when I finally convinced Emily to do it on not private, I don't even know why, because we didn't do it expecting. I had this dream not that far into creating it where I woke up and we had 800 followers. And I was like, the next day, Emily, I had this dream that I had 800 followers. Like, how cool is that? And so we just had no idea that we'd end up here. But it's just something to keep motivation and like to look back on it. And I'm so like, I never want to delete some of the videos that are right at the bottom. No. Don't ever scroll to the bottom.
They're obviously going to scroll now.
They're obviously
going to scroll now. But we started it when we didn't even know what we were doing ourselves. We weren't qualified. Like, we were just trying to help. It was like blindly.
We had our resistance band doing our glute activation, and we were just rolling with it, weren't we?
But I'm so glad, and I'm so glad we did take those videos, because it just shows that everyone starts from somewhere. Everyone has to start from somewhere.
We absolutely started from somewhere.
Yes. But then we went into lockdown, and this is when we kind of took the Instagram account a little bit more seriously, because obviously the gym's shut, and we were like, okay,
it kept us sane, didn't it?
Yeah, it did keep us. In fact, actually, that it really did keep us sane.
Because we were both working in the same pub anyway. So we were always just destined to work together, because we literally chose to work in the same pub.
We worked in the same pub.
Don't get me wrong, they didn't put us on any shifts together, because that probably would have just been an awful idea.
Who would put us on a shift together? You know how much we love talking.
But anyway, yeah, they did not put us on a shift together. But we worked in the same pub, and then we were both on furlough.
Yeah, furlough. I've not heard that.
I mean, nothing. We were on like £4 minimum wage.
Yeah, job stopped.
Yeah.
My swim teaching job stopped as well because I was swim teaching at the same time.
Yeah, you were.
And we, like, it was a bit of a shock. And actually, I remember we just got, like, quite down in lockdown.
I think A-levels were really tough. I'm going to be honest, like, I really struggled in A-levels. I think I didn't know what I wanted to do in life. I had no motivation. I didn't see, like, a way forward, to be honest. You know,
like
when
an
you're
end
just
goal.
in that mindset, like, where you don't have you just, at
Yeah,
everything.
just,
and so I think we held on to it a little bit. It was like the one thing that we had that was a little bit like, we didn't expect it to get us here, but it was like a positive thing that we were doing daily.
Yeah,
so,
and we just thought if it helped like one or two people
It's
that have
worth
asked
it.
about it,
Yeah.
it's worth it. And it also made us carry on and like find ways that we could carry on moving our bodies.
Yeah.
Because I remember we started doing our home workouts at home in the garden. Do you remember that one time that the garden got a little bit long and I came
So
out
we had
with
our
scissors?
yoga mat, yeah, and we had the yoga mat, and there was like bits of long grass poking up for our probably 500 followers, and we got the scissors and we
We were like
cut
cutting around the
edge
edge
of the yoga mat.
There's actually a video, I really wish you could find that.
Oh.
But that was when we were like, we must be in 17, 18.
Yeah,
we started
17,
the
18.
account when we were about, well, it was,
We must have been 18.
no, I think it was 2020, because we've had it
2020.
4 years.
Yeah.
Now 2024.
What?
It's crazy.
Yeah, so we really, that lockdown, it kept us going because we'd get up in the morning and both do, and then we would do separate ones, wouldn't we? But post it on the same account. So even though we were still doing our own garden workouts, they'd go on the same account. So
Yeah.
it was like
It-
coming together.
yeah,
And then
yeah.
we started, when we were allowed to go in each other's gardens, we did like outdoor workout
Outdoor
videos together.
workouts.
Oh my gosh, yeah. So
Oh,
it
that was
always
fantastic.
just, I don't know, it was just always meant to happen.
And
Like,
it
this was
carried on,
meant-
didn't it? The Instagram carried on when we went back to work. Because obviously,
Yeah.
I don't know how long the first lockdown was. Maybe 6 months?
Yeah.
Maybe something like that.
And then I got a job in Tesco, didn't I?
You got a job in Tesco's. And then we decided, did we decide to do the PT course during lockdown?
Yeah, it was during lockdown because it was just before I started working at Tesco's.
Yeah.
And we just wanted to like
Actually know what we were
yeah,
talking
because
about.
we started realising we were putting all these videos out and we literally like didn't have a clue. Like, what were we even teaching the world?
Who flipping knows?
So yeah,
we had some idea, but
yeah, so I really wanted to get this PT course done, and then after that, literally just happened that we started PTing in an actual gym, and it all just the ball started rolling.
all started
didn't it?
rolling. And I think we've always known that we want to help people, and lockdown was just like shoved us in that direction, didn't it?
Yeah.
Because it was like suddenly no one had access to a gym anymore and everyone was down because they couldn't move their bodies in the gym, and we saw how much we relied on it and how everyone else relied on it. And we wanted to make fitness accessible for people that don't always have a gym just due to not due to lockdown, just the fact that they can't either afford a membership or
Yeah.
maybe they don't have a gym in their area. So
Yeah.
that's something that like I think really stuck with us and made us realise that we wanted to make, our mission was to make fitness more accessible to people that can't just go down to the gym and get straight into it.
Yeah, definitely. And that's where we are. That's
Yeah.
brought us to today in some ways.
That's where our friendship led anyway. So
Yeah.
basically we've been forced into it the last 4 years. But
Yeah, so now we've built all this friendship base, and now we've literally not got a choice but to sit together.
but
And
I really do deep that, sometimes, because Zoe's actually currently looking at getting a flat, and we've kind of realised that we can't really move out too far because
yeah, I have to look in the area that we live.
yeah,
already,
like,
'cause I
you can't move away. That's 2 or 3 hours away from me.
No.
I really deep that the other day. Like I was like, you can't really decide to go
We're
off in
gonna
a
have to
direction
sign
of
a
life.
contract.
Yeah, you can't just decide you want to move
No,
to.
and I guess that's unique. A lot of friendships don't have that legally binding
Yeah.
problem.
Yeah, but I also want to go. Not that I'm ready to move out yet, because I'm not. But I want to go travelling with my boyfriend next year, and we were like, "But how do we do that?"
Yeah, like 3 months max.
3 months. I've had to cut it down from 6 months to 3 months because obviously we have to be together to do content and stuff. But I don't think I would like longer than that anyway, because familiarity. Why can't I say that today? Familiarity.
Yeah, this is our word of the day.
Familiar. Yeah, I told you. I find a word and just stick with it, a word or a phrase, and then I just run with it.
Well, thank you so much for listening. I think that is literally
We've unpacked everything, haven't we?
I know, that felt like a therapy session for me.
Yeah, it did for me too.
Honestly, I think that was really good for me. I needed that today.